Hello, welcome to my writing documentary. And before I dive into this writing documentary, I would like to mention that this really isn't a writing documentary. By the time this is releasing and by the time you're watching this, I recorded the original format of this writing documentary roughly a month before you're now seeing it. And so what I did was I pretty much had an idea of what I wanted to talk about, but it came out as a very jumbled discussion through my points. And I think I had some good points that I wanted to say. I still haven't reviewed the raw footage. However, because of the way I did the video, I can't really call it anything other than a writing documentary. So the point is that this is truly a writing discussion out of my normal formats of having this as my background, and I hope you enjoy. Now, take it away, younger Grady. Let me ask you this question. How can you believe in yourself before anybody else does? How can you believe in your work before anyone else does? And here's the spoiler alert. You can't just sit around and hope that someone believes in a work that you yourself don't believe in. Listen, I know a thing about crap stories. I'm an author, and some people would call me an aspiring author. Some people, in the pursuit of publishing, in the pursuit of getting a book out there, in the pursuit of having their book hit the bookshelves, they believe up to a certain point that they're an aspiring writer. They almost, in a sense, aren't willing to believe in their own work until someone else verifies that their work is worthy of being believed in. And so I would ask the question, what makes a footballer a footballer? Do they have to be in the NFL, playing a Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl ring? Does that make them a footballer? Or are they still a footballer even if they're playing in the grass against their friends at the age of 6? One may not be seen by everyone in the world, and one may be lifted up on the shoulders of giants and shouted from the rooftops of how amazing they are. But instead of that 6-year-old looking up at that giant and saying, wow, I can't believe that person did that, how could I ever do that? The 6-year-old, if they are aspiring to hit such big things, can simply say, hey, I'm young, I have potential, and I can continue growing to maybe do the exact same thing. Sometimes you have to believe in yourself enough to fail so that you can learn from your failures in order to grow out of them. I don't know why you're watching this. I don't know if you know me and you're watching this because you're interested in the thought process behind how I write. I don't know if you're watching this because all of a sudden you came across my channel on YouTube and you're seeing this video and you're wondering why someone would make a mini documentary. And I don't know if you have your own dreams, whether it be writing, whether it be music making, whether it be Super Bowling. Can you get there? I have no idea. I'm not the one to tell you that. I'm not here to believe in you, because how can I believe in you when you don't even believe in yourself? Honestly, and this is kind of the reason I'm bringing this up, I've never really struggled with not believing in the work that I do. Yes, sometimes I write something, I'm like, that's crap. Yes, I write something and I say that was not as good as I could have done. Yes, I edit something and I say, wow, that was extremely out of focus, like this video might be, I don't know. But I still believe in myself enough to know, all right, well, this might be crap now, this might be unideal now, this might be imperfect now, but can't I go back to it and fix it if I decide to? And it's interesting with writing specifically because every time I go back to a writing, usually 2 weeks pass and I'm like, oh, I could have changed this, I could have changed this. It's never perfect and I never really like it. And although I'm proud of it, I am always looking to improve it. But on the flip side, I never doubt my ability to improve it. The worst time my writing has ever been rejected was when I was younger. This was the biggest time I've ever felt traumatized of how my writing was received. So it was 6th grade and I wrote my first script ever for the drama team for my youth ministry for the 1st through 5th graders. And remember, I'm a 6th grader. So I wrote out the script. I don't even know if I have a copy anymore. It had to do with David and Goliath, but it was David versus the gorilla. And it was already predetermined that this is what the script was going to be about. I was just the one who wrote it. And this was my 2nd year of drama, and the leaders of the team were 2 people I really looked up to. It was a girl and a boy, and they were friends all throughout high school. And the girl was like a celebrity when it came to the drama team. She was like 5-ish, 6 maybe years older than me. And so I sent in the script and she looked it over and she's like, all right. And then she took it back home. And before the next practice came, she made some tweaks as previously discussed that would be made. and she came to the drama team with pretty much a whole new script. So everything I had wrote had pretty much been deleted, and her version had replaced the whole thing. And me as a 6th grader, I'm like, I thought that was pretty good. I thought I wrote a pretty good script. But clearly she did not think so. So having a role model pretty much disregard everything I had written and then rewrite all of it from scratch, or pretty much tweak all of it so it looked like it was written from scratch. After that, I was pretty much able to take any constructive criticism, because I mean, nothing is as bad as, like, imagine if I sent a book to a publisher and they said, yes, we love your book, we want to publish your book, and then they went to the rewrites and the book on the shelf was literally like 1% of the words that I originally wrote and 99% their story. And that would never happen in the publishing industry. So after that, every single constructive criticism I've ever received has never felt as bad as that, even though I've gotten some pretty rough constructive criticisms before. And I'm thankful for that experience, because it really taught me this is pretty much the worst it can get. And so as long as we don't get to this point, we're good. So even when someone doesn't believe in my work necessarily, it doesn't really hit me that hard, because I've been dealing with writing rejection ever since I was in 6th grade. I hear sometimes about people who don't believe in themselves, and it kind of boggles my mind, because I'm like, how do you get to that point? I ask myself, how did I get to the point where I don't necessarily doubt my belief in my abilities to grow and improve in an area of writing? And I started looking back at my history, and it's the fact that ever since I was young, with this 7-year-old story about Captain Vitamin Pants, I look back on all the things that I've done, and I look at every step of the way, whether it was from 7 years old, where I was writing stories from a young age, whether it was when I was around 11, 12, and I created a feature film movie with some neighbor friends and edited it into this like 2-hour superhero movie, or year after year writing drama skits that were performed for 1st through 5th graders, or whether it was from roughly age 13 and on, writing journal entries, roughly 100 journal entries every single year, or whether it was deciding to, in 5th grade, write my first novel about a thriller. It was a thriller genre. Or whether it was me deciding to try to write a book in 2018, or whether it was me editing that book in 2019, or whether it was me writing 2 books in 2020, or whether it was me rewriting a book for publication in 2021. During all these steps, I didn't even realize it, because I was doing it for me personally, but it became a habit to work hard to grow myself in an area of writing. And so when it comes to football, I might not necessarily believe in my abilities to go out in the Super Bowl or even in the backyard and throw around a football, because that's not something that I've practiced. But I am able to believe in myself now, through writing at least, because I've done it over and over and over, and this way and that way and this way and that way, and it's been done repetitively, and I've seen myself grow and grow and grow, and I've seen myself study and study and study, to the point where I'm able to say, all right, I've come this far, and regardless of if this person doesn't like what I wrote, or regardless of if this person really likes what I wrote, I still know that I can get better. I still know that I can improve. I'm not going to stop, because there's so much more that I can do. The whole point of this video isn't to talk about me, it's to talk about you. I know this is a mini documentary on writing, right? But this is really a mini documentary on pursuing your dreams. Are you good enough yet to be at your A game? I don't know. Maybe not, but at least believe in yourself to take yourself from the Z game up to the Y game, and up to the Y game to whatever the next thing in the alphabet is, what, X or something? Through the years, through my variety of different stories, I've seen my stories make people laugh. I've seen my stories make people cry. I've seen my stories make people feel something. And sure, along the way, sometimes people were bored. Sometimes people wanted to set down the book. Sometimes people didn't finish my stories. Sometimes I make something for the world to see and only one person watches it. Me. But are you growing your craft to avoid someone else's rejection or to get someone else's approval, or are you doing it for you? Or are you doing it for becoming the best type of person that you know you can become? Listen, I don't want my books to be crap, so I want to make sure that I do my best in order to make sure that doesn't happen. And I love when people slaughter my books and tell me all the things that I did wrong with it, because that allows me to improve and go from one step to the next. If I can make someone feel something only one time, that means I can replicate it and do that twice. And if I can do it twice, I can do it 4 times. And if I can do it 4 times, I can do it 8 times, and 16 times, and 32 times, and 64 times, and 100, and you get the idea. Instead of judging my performance on how other people think I performed, why can't I just perfect my performance until I'm able to deliver something that they can't help but be interested in? But whatever you're doing, not everyone's going to like it. You still have to understand that even if you're the best that you can be, not everyone's going to appreciate what you do. And so just keep on doing it and know that you'll eventually find your crowd. For example, my stories are very Grady-like, and someday you will understand when you read my stories. My stories aren't everyone's cup of tea, and it never will be, but there's a piece of this world waiting for me to be good enough to get my stories out in front of them. And I'll work hard until that happens, and I'll work hard after that happens. Listen, if you're waiting to be good enough in order to start something, you're never gonna actually get started. And so I would encourage you, just push hard, try, decide to be something bigger than yourself. Decide to push towards something that you never imagined yourself pushing towards. Get to the point where you can write a crappy story like this, be okay with it, learn from it, and continue growing forward. That's all I have to say, but I hope you took something out of this video. I'm glad if you believe in me, and even if you don't, I hope to someday be worth believing in.